What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Lil Mackie Rob, aka Meto. And what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today, man? Y'all doing good, man? I'm doing good. I hope y'all having a good day. Hope y'all having a good week, man. I hope y'all having a good time. You know what I mean? So anyways, today, I've been going through my YouTube a little bit, and I saw a video here. You know, like I always do, y'all. You know me, man. If I'm gonna watch something that I think is interesting and I'm gonna fucking talk about it with myself, I'm gonna talk about it with y'all. So, yeah. So, anyways, so here we go. I put it in my watch later, as you can see. But yeah, I got a game. I got a video right here, man. It's from Gamer Ranch. Game. Anyways, I have a video right here, man. It's called the 20 overhyped games that were actually mediocre. Now, I watched maybe 30 seconds of this last night. And I was like, you know what? I think this would be good to react to with the boys, with y'all. So here we are, man. Don't forget, if you like this kind of content, man, leave a like. And if you like me, maybe subscribe. And if you don't like me, leave a dislike and leave a comment letting me know that I'm fat or something. So anyways, without further ado, boys, let's get into this, man. Again, this is Gamer Ranks. Don't worry, I'm gonna start putting my the videos that I react to. I'm gonna make sure I start putting them links in the description so y'all can go ahead and also go show their videos some love. But yeah, again, this is Gamer Ranks, man. 20 overhyped games that were actually mediocre. So let's see if they're right. Let's see if these games were actually mediocre.
Hype. Hype makes the
Turn it up
world
a little
go
bit.
round, don't you know? But what happens when a game gets a ton of hype and then doesn't live up to it? Hi, folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 20 overhyped games that were actually
Game Ranks? Wow, I said that completely wrong. I said Gamer Ranch. My bad.
mediocre. Starting off with number 20, it's
Okay.
the Callisto Protocol. Easy to
Really?
forget because the game basically disappeared the moment it actually came out. But leading up to its release, there was a ton of hype for the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was pretty hyped for it because I'm a big Dead Space nerd. I'm not gonna lie, and this game from all my friends and my cousin and shit was telling me was that this game was it was kind of like Dead Space. So I was like, okay, I just never got around to playing it. But really, it looks great though. Was it really mediocre?
When the game was announced, Dead Space was a dead franchise, fondly remembered but ignored by its publisher.
Dead Space 1 was so fire, bro. Yo, leave a comment if y'all played Dead Space 1, bro. That shit was gas, man. Honestly, it's probably the best Dead Space out of the three.
So the promise of a spiritual successor got
look,
people pretty
the game
excited.
looks
The initial
clean.
trailers were impressive, and the game had a solid
pretty cool.
pedigree. Wasn't just some yahoos making a Dead Space-like game. It was Glenn Schofield, the architect of the original Dead Space game.
Yeah,
He didn't
that's what I'm
direct
saying,
it.
like
He was
how-
just the executive producer, but the pre-release.
I mean, but still, though, you still got the guy who originally made the game that this game is kind of like he said, the spiritual successor for. So it's like, how does this game feel? It looks great. It deadass looks like what Dead Space, looks like now, especially with the remake. Oh, that remake too, bro. Yo, hold on. I just real quick, to all my Dead Space fans who are watching this, yo, keep it a buck, bro. Did y'all actually do the challenge or the trophy or the trophy or the achievement or whatever you want to call it? Did y'all do the one that says you have to complete the game only using the what do you call it, the laser pistol? Did y'all do that? Let me know, cause I don't know if I'm gonna do that. That sounds like fucking hell, especially considering how little ammo you get throughout the game for that shit. And you have to buy it with money that is also kind of hard to save with, at least for me, because you gotta buy ammo for everything else and buy the new armor and health packs and shit that are also ridiculously expensive in the game. Did y'all actually do that fucking achievement? Let me know, cause I think when I actually do that, I'm gonna try to get a capture card so I can record me playing it on PlayStation, so then I can hopefully record it and do it for y'all. Cause I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it in the most fucking hardest way possible. I'm gonna do the new game plus, cause that's also, you have to complete one of the achievements is complete the game and new game plus on any difficulty. And then one of the other achievements is also complete the game on the hardest mode possible. So I'm gonna do the new game plus, try to make sure if I can change the difficulty of New Game Plus, I'm going to make it the hardest difficulty as I can, and only do the laser pistol challenge. So, Let me know if y'all want to see that, because if I'm gonna do that and if I'm gonna scream and almost want to fucking slam my fucking controller through my fucking television, I'd rather do it with you guys and maybe give you guys a little laugh. Let me know if y'all want to see that.
East Marketing pushed his involvement hard, and we all bought into it. Finally, a real follow-up to Dead Space. Then an actual Dead Space remake was announced, and it stole all the game's thunder. That and the game really wasn't that great. It wasn't horrible. The visuals were super impressive, but the weird focus on melee combat, the short length, and the extreme linearity kind of dumbed down what it should have been.
Excuse me. Well, I mean, to be fair, Dead Space is also notoriously pretty linear, in my opinion. I can't say nothing about the length. The length of it is definitely pretty long. I think it took me about 18 hours, 20 hours to beat the main story, and I was on I think the normal difficulty or whatever. So I mean, it doesn't really sound like it was actually mediocre. It just sounds like, I guess people were expecting like a Dead Space, and it just wasn't exactly like Dead Space. But this shit looks fucking scary as fuck. I mean, you got a pistol right there. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, melee combat in a Dead Space game does sound pretty dope. So this just seems like it's a bit of a stretch to me. But then I haven't played the game, so I will also let me know if y'all want to see me play the Callisto Protocol too, man. Let me know. Let me know whatever y'all want me to do, man. Let me know. Either way, I'm still gonna play this shit, and I'm probably gonna record it anyways, regardless of what y'all say. So, it just looks cool. Look at him. Tell me that don't look cool. That looks cool as fuck.
It was not what people expected. It looks like Dead Space in some superficial ways, but the Callisto Protocol was no Dead Space. Moving on to number 19, it's Watch
it doesn't even
Dogs.
sound like it was mediocre.
Whenever you're transitioning from one gaming generation to another, there's always going to be a lot of hype. The jump from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PlayStation 3 to 4 had to be big. Look, it had to be a monumental shift in games as we know them. If there was one game that ended up being a lightning rod for all those hopes and dreams about next gen, it was Watch Dogs. The first trailer, something we have relitigated many, many times, was stunning and total BS. We didn't know at the time, at least the less cynical among us didn't, so the hype just kept building. Ubisoft games were already seen as being formulaic at the time, but
okay, I don't know. I don't know if people are going to call me a shill for this or something, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think Watch Dogs 1 was that bad of a game. I thought it was pretty fucking fun. I thought it was pretty cool for what it was. It was definitely unique with the hacking and shit, and how you can hack you can hack the traffic lights, you can fucking figure out people's information that will just walk through the street, and you can fucking hack, you can literally hack whatever was electronic pretty much in the game, you could hack it and manipulate it. I thought that was a pretty cool fucking thing. And the only other game I've seen really try to imitate something like that, I mean, obviously, which Watch Dogs 2, which, I mean, if we want to talk about mediocre, I'm gonna keep it a bean. Watch Dogs 2, in my opinion, wasn't that good. I mean, I think it was fun. It was fun because of the whole multiplayer aspect of it too, and you could customize your dude and shit like that a lot. But I mean, I think after Watch Dogs 1, I just I didn't really like Watch Dogs 2 all that much. But Watch Dogs 1, for what it was at the time, was pretty fucking fire. I definitely wouldn't classify it as mediocre.
Like it was going to be something.
Like I said, the only other game I've seen be able to do the hacking and how intricate the hacking can be within their games is Cyberpunk.
Right. The game got glowing write-ups, and it was the most pre-ordered game for the 8th generation of video game consoles. Then reviews started coming out, and people started playing it, and yeah, you know the rest of the story. Here's the thing. Watch Dogs isn't terrible or anything, even mediocre.
Yeah, it's
I know
not even
this
mediocre.
Is a mediocre games list. I think that Watch Dogs is a pretty good game,
Thank you.
Actually, but compared to what we were shown, it was a pretty big letdown. And regardless of how over many years people have come to appreciate it for what it is, when it came out, it absolutely, under no circumstance, lived up to the hype that Ubisoft had generated for it.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I honestly, I thought the trailer was fine for it. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I should watch the trailer again.
It's a good-looking game, but not the amazing-looking one that the trailer's shown. The whole hacking game.
Well, wait. Is that the?
It wasn't really that detailed or super interesting. It was kind of surface level. I'm not saying I hate it, but it's mostly just a well-made GTA clone that.
Well, I mean, then again, like I said, Watch Dogs was I think it's probably one of the first games to really, I want to say the first games, but it's definitely Because I'm not sure if there's any other hacking games, but as far as my knowledge goes, it's one of the few games that have actually done hacking the way it did and made it as cool as it was. Like I said, you could hack like everything, the street lights, you could hack people's fucking accounts. Yeah, you could do a lot. Like people as in NPCs. Like you can hack it and see how much money they have in their bank accounts. You can get their information. Like anything electric in the game, you would literally be able to hack. I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe you could say it's surface level, but I don't know how much more deeper you'd want the hacking to be, because I mean, you could even say Cyberpunk's hacking is pretty. I won't even say it's that surface level. Actually, no, that's a bullshit lie. Now I'm thinking about it. I would say Cyberpunk did really fucking good for the hacking. But like, for what this game is and for what it was when it came out, I thought it was pretty solid. And he also thinks it's pretty solid. It just seems like, are people just that upset that like the game didn't look as fucking crazy as it does in the trailer? And I don't get it. That's always how, especially cinematic trailers, and how they look is nowhere near what the actual game is, or nowhere near what the actual game looks like. And it's been like that for a long time. I don't think anybody really takes cinematic trailers too seriously, as far as graphics goes. I don't know. Maybe that's me, bro. Maybe that's
played pretty well, but wasn't really doing anything special. Compared to what we were promised, it was mediocre. The hype around the game was that it was basically a genre-defining masterpiece, and if it's not that, of course there's going to be some backlash. It dings you. Doesn't matter how good the game is. It dings you.
I mean, I think it still is pretty genre-defining. Tell me another game that has tried to do hacking other than Cyberpunk. Especially like it's hacking is intricate. Just hacking in general, not even intricate. It's just hacking like Watch Dogs. Tell me another game that's done it. I'm serious. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't heard of any games that have tried to recreate what Watch Dogs created. So I don't know. Maybe I'm coping, but... And then again, I didn't really like Watch Dogs all that much.
Is Homefront. Whenever a company tries to generate a vast transmedia empire out of nowhere, the results tend to crash and burn. It's why they don't do it that often, and when it works, it's kind of amazing. But it doesn't usually work. Homefront, perfect example. It wasn't just going to be...
White Castle. I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest fan of White Castle. Because I hate that the burgers are so small, bro. Like, they're so tiny. And then by the time you, like, order it at the White Castle, then you drive home, and then you want to open it, that shit is soggy. And because it's so small, like, everything gets fucking soggy. And all you really taste is the bread and the onions. And, like, But it's good. It's good. You know what White Castle is good for? When you're absolutely fucked up at, like, midnight or 1 a.m. Like, if you don't want Taco Bell, you go to White Castle, Breakfast fast served at 6 to 11. Okay. I didn't even know does White Castle actually have breakfast? I didn't know that. I do know they have chicken sandwiches. Those are fire. Those are gas.
The next big...
Dude, can y'all hear my tummy rumbling? Oh, I was gonna eat. I was gonna go back upstairs after I uploaded my last video, and go eat. But I just wanted to record this, dude. But I'm kind of regretting it. I'm really hungry. Fuck.
Call of Duty killer. It was gonna be the next big thing. Period. They put out a book before release. They brought in a big Hollywood screenwriter, John Milius, I think is how to say his last name. But they brought him in to bring the story credibility. They launched a massive marketing campaign to get people hyped for this thing. And I don't think I knew anyone who was actually hyped.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember hearing anything about this game. I'm gonna be honest. I have no opinion on whether or not this game was mediocre or not.
Ads for Homefront popping up everywhere.
I've never heard of this game. It looks cool.
It was unavoidable in the weeks leading up to its release, but let's say the idea of some competition for Call of Duty, fine, good. But the premise of this thing was absolutely absurd.
It looks like what Call of Duty
It's about
should
the
be.
United States getting invaded and taken over by North Korea, of all places, which, as you know, is a very small country that, although, yeah, sure, they have a military, but whatever you do or don't think about North Korea, their military could be absolutely stepped on by the United States military, or basically any superpower's military, for that matter. Anyway, in order to...
I mean, I don't think that's a valid critique, dog. It's a fucking video game. What are we talking about? That's not a valid critique. Fuck, dude. Like, if that's the case, dude, what's the point of having any fucking military sims? you know, or it's not really a military sim, but like, what's the point of having any military game? Because technically, the U.S. military could destroy everything. Yeah, it's a fucking video game, dog. It's a what if scenario. They picked North Korea. North Korea is one of our biggest fucking ops, bro. They hate us. And maybe in this world, North Korea is actually a lot stronger than than it is in this world. But hey, bro. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely just a bit of a.
To justify this
bit of a
insane
wham
turn of
moment
events,
to me.
they basically have to twist world history into an unrecognizable knot just to do a blatant Red Dawn ripoff story, which wouldn't even matter if the gameplay was good, but at least in the campaign, it was just a showcase of what not to do in a Call of Duty campaign.
Transport heli!
More of the fuckers roping in! Don't leave those frags lying around.
It definitely just looks like Modern Warfare, like graphics and like how it plays. It dead ass. Like, look, even the HUD here reminds me of Modern Warfare. All the hit markers remind me of Modern Warfare. The graphics look like Modern Warfare. It just looks like it looks like the kind of, it looks like it's kind of copying Modern Warfare a little bit. Oh shit, whoops. But yeah, I mean, bro, it's a video game. I don't I don't really put too much shit on them for wanting to use North Korea as the enemies of this game. I mean, it still kind of tracks, North Korea doesn't like us. It's not like the game's like, hey, what would happen if, or it's not like, hey, the America's invaded and it's invaded by fucking, Canada or some shit. Like, like, I feel like that would be a bit more of a valid, I guess, criticism. But even then, my initial response is still valid. It's a fucking video game, dog. Like, but I will say, like, it seems like this game came out in 2013. So, when did this game come out?
It's slow and clunky and boring.
What was this game called again? Homefront? When did this game come out? Let me see. When did Homefront release? When did that game come out? 2011. Yeah, so the graphics match the time. Yeah, it makes sense why it looks like that. Yeah, it just looks like it was just trying to, compete with Modern Warfare.
Boring in ways its inspiration just isn't. The multiplayer was solid, had some good ideas, but the overall package was mediocre at best. Now the only thing anyone remembers about the series is that they hit all of Time Splitters 2 in the sequel, which is cool. I don't hate it, but like, Homefront isn't good because it has a different game in it. THQ was so desperate to generate a Battlefield or a Call of Duty like hit. They wanted to play at the big boys' table, but instead they just drove themselves out of business making junk like this.
In this fight, Jacob, start shooting.
2 of them, coming over the fence.
Aim for the head. Make every bullet count.
I would say it does
And
look a
number
little
17
janky.
is Mighty Number 9. The gaming world was in a very different place when the original Kickstarter for Mighty Number 9 came out. Now, no one would care about that original pitch video. Oh, a throwback Mega Man game? Toss that into the pile with the dozen that are coming out constantly. And I mean, we've got 30XX now. There's literally no reason, except for if they made a new Mega Man or Mega Man
All right, listen to me. I've never played Mega Man. Shoot me if you must. I've never played Mega Man.
X game. If you want to play a Mega Man style game, particularly Mega Man X, hit up Steam, go straight to 30XX. God, that game is good. But back then, there wasn't a 30XX. I don't even think 20XX was out at that point. But the entire hype around Mighty Number 9 feels really stupid in hindsight. But people were legitimately excited about Mighty Number 9 at first. The Kickstarter, which was
cool.
Major gaming crowdfunding campaigns, ended up raising over $4 million. And it got people talking. At that time, a lot of people were pretty unhappy with how Capcom was handling the Mega Man franchise, and at least during the Kickstarter, it was framed as hero Kenji Inafune coming and taking on Goliath, the monster Capcom, who just didn't let the man make the Mega Man game that he always wanted to make. The real story of Mega Man's decline as a franchise is a lot more complicated than that, and it doesn't really matter because he's only credited as the writer of the game. He had almost nothing else to do with it, so it was really just a cynical attempt to attach a major name for publicity purposes. And it's another one of those games where they tried to create a media empire before it came out. They were talking about manga and TV shows. They tried to push another game called Red Ash before this one was even done, and it only made the backers more frustrated with the slow pace of development. When the game finally came out, it wasn't great. It certainly wasn't the worst thing ever. It was just some random indie game with no expectations.
See, I've noticed, I like how so far the last, like, what, 3, 4, I guess 4 now, the last 4 critiques he's had for games, I love how his reaction is like, "Oh, the game's not bad. It's just because it's clearly supposed to be a ripoff of this, or it's not what it looked like in the commercials and the trailers." And it's like, okay, like this is my problem with people. It's like, bro, like, okay, yeah. So what if it's trying to be like Mega Man, or so what if Homefront's trying to be like Call of Duty? Competition breeds perfection. Well, maybe not perfection, but competition just breeds good products to come out of it. You should be happy that there are games that are trying to contest with the big boys, because clearly, like he said, people were upset with the way Capcom was handling the Mega Man franchise. You know, back in 2011, I mean, nobody was really complaining about Call of Duty at that time, but still, Call of Duty is in a league of its own, really, only with the only real competitor being Battlefield. So, like, why not add another game into the market? You know, this kind of all goes back to the same conversation about Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. It's like, I understand you can like a game and you can like a franchise that's been established for all these years, but why shit on another game that's trying to also dip into that field? That's competition. That's good. As customers, that's what we want. That's how we get, one, more games in the area, or more games in the genre that we like, and 2, that's how we get the franchises that are already big and famous to actually take some time and make good games out of that franchise. So it's a win-win for us. Like, I don't understand. I've heard it like for the last 3-4 times. It's not a bad game. It's just it didn't, you know, it's clearly a copy of this game, or it didn't look like how it did in the cinematic trailer, or whatever his excuse is. I promise you he's probably going to say that for most of these, bro. But we'll see.
That's more like it.
Because the game looks fine, bro. Then again, I can't say shit. I never played the game, though, so I don't know.
It probably would have had a better reputation, but it's not that. And also, it really isn't a great game. Certainly, it does have its moments. Some of the boss fights are really good, but it's only some of them. Most of them are pretty generic and not really anything to care about. I mean, if you go back to my 7-minute before you buy of the game from back in 2016, I think I said a lot of similar things. I really wanted to like it, but it just wasn't enough. And in that sort of dichotomy, you can see exactly what we're really talking about in this list. The game was hyped for years. It had all these expectations. There was reason to want to like it, but it just didn't live up to any of it. At number 16 is Evolve, coming from the team that made Left 4 Dead. Evolve was going to be the next step
Evolve
in
was
multiplayer
Evolve
gaming.
was fire.
It was talked up
but
to
it was,
the moon by pretty much everybody who previewed it. Got tons of Best of E3 awards back in 2014. Ton of hype around it. People were legit excited about it, too. It wasn't just false hype generated by the publisher. It's a game that people really wanted to get their hands on and play. So it's kind of a shame that what happened. It's one of those games that previews really well, and then when you play it for a while, problems start to pop up. The final game release just wasn't as polished as something like Left 4 Dead. It was more complicated, but also frustrating in a lot of ways, and the netcode was an absolute mess at launch. They would eventually get the game to a more stable place, but all the problems and excessive microtransactions scared folks away.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think, the game was good. It was just the way the devs handled it. Like, yeah, the game was pretty buggy with like on release, and yeah, the microtransactions were pretty fucking egregious. I'm not gonna lie, but the game was great. I mean, I'm pretty sure this game is kind of what like bred the whole Dead by Daylight thing did for Dead by Daylight to exist, because Dead by Daylight is pretty similar to Evolve. Obviously, you're not playing as fucking alien creatures and, you know, people who could fight back and have like actual guns and arsenal. You know, you're playing as one person is a serial killer with like four survivors, and you got to try to escape the area. But I mean, it was cool. I think this game definitely started its own genre for sure with that whole what do you call, I guess what would you call this genre? I don't know what you call this kind of genre of a game. I guess like a monster shooter, I guess. I don't know what the fuck you call it. But like, I'm pretty sure because of this game we had games like Jason come out, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Dead by Daylight. Like, yeah, it's a good game. People still play this game to this day, by the way. I watch videos of people who play this, and it's pretty cool.
game. A lot of people
Just
love
wish
it,
the
but
devs
they
would
never
definitely
quite managed to get where it
definitely
needed
just
to be
spend
with
more
the
time
gameplay.
with it
A
and fix it.
full-blown
And
sequel where the team got a chance to really rethink the mechanics and get everything more balanced and polished probably would have been the way to go if they wanted to keep doing Evolve, but that never.
They just abandoned it. This game had so much potential, bro.
And number 15 is Star Fox Zero. Yeah, a Nintendo game for once. They usually know how to make a good game, but every once in a while they screw up. Star Fox Zero
Hey, don't be talking shit about. Don't be talking shit about. Fuck. My mind is so fucked right now. What was that? I have the game too. Why can't I think of it? Fucking Christ. Hold on. Bro, I'm so mad. What is dude, I hate this is why sometimes I hate making videos off the top, because I'll have it on my head what I want to say and then I'll forget it as I start talking. Animal Crossing. Yeah, I didn't even have to type it in. I knew what the fuck it was called. Animal Crossing. Holy shit. Don't talk shit. Okay. On Animal Crossing. I love that game. It's fire.
Could have been a slam dunk.
I love Star Fox. I don't really have a Nintendo that often. The only time I've had a Nintendo here is with the Switch recently. So I don't know when this game came out or what the game released on. But bro, Star Fox is a fire series, bro. I'm surprised to see
Star Fox. People were chomping at the bit for a new one, and they hit us with a flashy trailer that revealed that Platinum was making the game. Platinum Games. The Japanese action game studio was in a shaky spot at that point. Their previous games, Legend of Korra and Transformers Devastation, were real work for hire type stuff. But this was only a few years off from Revengeance, and their work with Nintendo had always been pretty high quality, so there's no reason to assume the game wouldn't live up to expectations. The preview footage looked great, but when people actually started playing it and found out how it actually controlled, that sentiment changed, let's say. This game has forced gyroscope aiming. You cannot do it the traditional way. You had to aim by tilting the Wii U screen. Also, critical information.
Okay, I thought you meant it was like, oh no, that's inverse controls. I was like, bro, inverse controls aren't that big of a deal. You mean you can't understand the concept of pushing up to go down and down to go up? But no, this, yeah, okay, so it released for the Wii U. Got you. Okay, yeah, gyro controls, I fucking hate those, bro. That's why I even turn them off on my Switch, because they're so fucking garbage. I hate the whole gyro control shit. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, that's kind of stupid that they didn't give you an option to turn it off. That's surprising.
Was on the gamepad screen, which forced you to divide your attention between the main screen and the gamepad screen in the middle of this frenetic action shooter. I mean, by all accounts, it probably could be a good game if not for the controls.
I was just say, again, it seems like he's just complaining over the controls. This seems like a pretty decent idea. You got the cockpit view here, and then you have, your traditional view. I don't really think you have to strictly look at one or the other, or look at both at the same time. You can probably just, I don't think you have to constantly look up and then look down and then look up and then look down. I think you could just pick one, like, yeah, do you want to watch it from the normal screen, or would you like to watch it from a POV, a first person view of it, from the cockpit? I think that's a pretty cool feature. Fuck, dude, if I had a Wii U at this time, I would have probably loved the shit out of this game.
Pad screen in the middle of this frenetic action shooter. I mean, by all accounts, it probably could be a good game if not for the controls.
Yeah, if his only complaint is about the controls, it's kind of fucking ridiculous. I'm gonna be honest. That's a bit of a wham moment to me. But I mean, I guess I can understand the frustration of not being able to turn it off.
Everything seems to be about right. I mean, if anything, they played it a little bit too safe in terms of the actual content. They just remade Star Fox 64, basically. Instead of doing something new, they basically repeated the winning formula of the old games, which was honestly not enough. Not with those controls, especially. Star Fox 64 was basically a remake of the original Star Fox, so it was the remake of a remake, a Xerox of a Xerox, as one might say. When you get accustomed to the controls, it's not so bad. It does have the platinum polish, but it should have been a lot better, and I think if somebody took the code of the game and rebuilt the mechanics of it, it could actually be a really damn good game. It's just somebody needs to do that. Remove the second screen, remove the gyroscope, bring us traditional controls. That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know. He played it a little too safe. I mean, what do you expect from Star Fox? What do you expect? What do you want? Like, what do you expect? Like a story about fucking like oppression or something, or like how or about how corrupt governments are or something? Like what other narrative is Star Fox supposed to follow other than these aliens are coming to destroy Earth? Star Fox, get them. Like, dog, I think most of us just play Star Fox because you be able to fly cool space airplane and do cool space airplane combat with the Star Fox characters you like. I don't know. Honestly, they could keep releasing Star Fox over and over and over and over again with the same fucking story over and over and over again, just upgraded graphics. And yeah, you got a customer out of me every time. I'm not gonna lie. Star Fox is a fucking amazing franchise. I don't know. Maybe I'm different, but I just don't understand and don't get what you expect narratively for them to do that's a bit more pushing the boundaries. Like, I guess I see what he's saying. Maybe he's not saying narratively. Maybe he's saying gameplay wise. Maybe they could have added like maybe different aircrafts and different ways for you to engage in combat. Which, I mean, if he's saying that, I can't disagree there. But yeah, I don't know what more you'd really expect from Star Fox other than space combat and cool space airplane. Maybe multiplayer. Honestly, a multiplayer Star Fox would go fucking fire, bro. Like, imagine, bro, you get like you do like a Helldivers bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you do like the Helldivers thing where it's like live, right? And there's like the big map where like you can all like you can go to like different sectors of the not the galaxy, but like of the solar system and shit. You go to like the different sectors live, and like you have like the different enemies that the devs will put in, like, hey, you know, this sector is getting invaded by, you know, these fucking people. You know, go get your team together, go get your homies together, or go at it alone, and, you know, go help the cause or some shit. You know, that'd be cool if they turned Star Fox into like a Helldivers 2 kind of bit. You know what I'm saying? That'd be cool. Add some of that multiplayer so you can have your homies. You can make a squad with your homies, add different aircrafts and shit, you know, so you can add like space helicopters or like maybe cooler jets and shit like that, or actual spaceships that you can fly around in, or maybe allow people to control the big ships and shit, and you can have like the big major ship combat, and, you know, that'd be cool. See, if they could do something like that, that would definitely bring some people.
Tina's Heavenly Sword, the initial PS3 launch library is pretty dire, so when a game got announced that looked like it was actually next gen, people stood up and took notice. The two biggest hype generators for the upcoming PS3 were Lair, which got delayed past launch and ended up being almost unplayable because of gyro controls. Almost like that's not a good idea. But Heavenly Sword also got delayed, but it ended up being kind of okay. Like a lot of launch games of this generation and the next, it was all flash and no substance. The campaign was short, completely linear, and full of invisible walls. Combat was simplistic, there were a few gyro gimmicks, and you couldn't even jump.
Yeah, okay, not adding a jump. Okay, I don't know why games don't want to add the jump, like add jumps into them. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, I know Fallout New Vegas does that too. I had to literally mod a jump mod so I can just jump. Like, it's pretty fucking stupid. I don't know why if you're making a game, dog, just add jump. Just add the jump button. It's not that big of a deal, please. I don't want to have to fucking, when I can clearly jump over this or vault over this wall, I don't want to have to fucking walk all the way to where the stairs are, or where there's a hill where I have to walk up and then come up here. Just let me jump up here.
It was no God of War or Devil May Cry, but man, it was a visual spectacle back in the day. That's really all the final product had going for it, though. It was more of a tech demo for the new console rather than a proper game. A walking advertisement for the power of the PS3, which it didn't even really get to do entirely because the game got delayed past the actual launch of the system. Heavenly Sword is a perfect example of the shallowness of 8th generation games, too. It was simplistic, cutscenes were too long, but it is still kind of fun, and Andy Serkis gives it an amusingly unhinged performance as the bad guy, so it's not all bad.
Get this sword away from him!
Damn! What the fuck, dude? That's just unhinged.
Performance as the bad
That's
guy.
just unhinged as fuck, bro.
Sword away from him!
No! Ah! All right, killer.
Kill her.
That's just unhinged as fuck. That's fine. I like that.
13 is Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. In 2021, people were really starting to get a little sick of Smash Brothers. I don't know if it was just the hype YouTubers trying to push this one as the next big thing, or if there was really a groundswell of support with fans.
Yeah, people got tired of this game because, and which is the reason why I also don't like it. It has nothing to do with the game. It has nothing to do with Smash Bros. It's the fucking, it's the players, bro. Try to load up the new Smash Bros. Was it Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or some shit or whatever it's called. Try to load up the new Super Smash Bros. And just try to play a one-on-one match online. You'll find people. Will you win? Probably fucking not. Everybody's just too fucking sweaty. So it kind of sucks. Like, if you actually want to have fun in the game, you either A, have to play with bots, or B, get 3 other people, or I guess in the new one now you can get 8 people. So you got to get 7 other people to that you know in real life to come over and then play the game, so you can have like more of an even field of, you know, skill and stuff like that. Because every time I try to play Smash Bros online, I get absolutely fucking mollywopped because there's too many sweaty people that play this fucking game.
Fans who really did want a proper alternative to Smash Brothers, but I remember there being a surprising amount of hype for this. And to the developers' credit,
I was honestly
they did
gonna
say
buy
all
this.
the right things and have previously proven their platform fighting game bona fides with Slap City, one of the only actually decent indie Smash Brothers clones. It's not like the hype came out of nowhere.
I think that's cap. I think Brawlhalla is also a pretty good platform battle, whatever you call it, platform battle game. I like Brawlhalla. That's a good one.
Potential here. All those
and that might be a hot take. I know how much people don't. Everything I just said too about the sweats as well also applies to Brawlhalla, but I still think Brawlhalla is a good
hopes and dreams
good
should have died when we
game.
saw the publisher, Game Mill, the guys behind real classics like The Walking Dead, Destinies, and Rise of Kong Skull Island. With them publishing, the game, it didn't stand a chance. And it's not like it was terrible. It's just really bare bones. You could tell the developers had the skills to make a good platform fighter, but they didn't have the budget. That's definitely a Game Mill problem. The game lacked interesting game modes. All the characters were completely silent, which is the kind of problem you really can't overcome.
Yeah, silent. Having no sound or no voice lines in the game does kind of... I won't lie, that does kind of affect how I look at a game too, because it seems to be it's a little lazy, you know? Like, it just adds some voice actors, bro. Even if it's the same voice actor or whatever that's just trying to do different characters. Just add something. Don't make your game silent, and don't make it to where I have to fucking read a chat box.
Because half the appeal of the game is seeing the cartoon characters come to life and beat each other up. Final result wasn't a complete disaster, but it was not the Smash Brothers killer that so many hyped it up to in their own heads. Number 12 is The Order 1886. Basically take everything I said about Heavenly Sword, put it here, except for PlayStation 4 rather than 3. It was supposed to be a technical showpiece for the PS4 at launch, got pushed back way past launch, and was released to relative disinterest. We don't think about it much now, but before release, there was a ton of hype around this game. It was consistently mentioned as one of the most anticipated games around that time, and the general enthusiasm around the project was really, really good. It mostly comes down to graphics, which are still actually really impressive
look great,
even now.
yeah.
But everything else about the game is average. The shooting is basic. It's good, but basic.
Watch yourself.
Yeah.
The story is dull. Very little actually happens. It's got potential. This was essentially the prologue of a game. And if there was a sequel that expanded on the shooting and the story, it could go from a tech demo to some proper games that are actually a good IP. But that didn't happen. Separate from all the hype, is it a good game? Yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good. But it's a generic third-person shooter that just so happens to have incredible-looking environments, especially for the time. And the graphics are really what it has going for it.
Yeah, that goes to show, dude. Now, you know, graphics don't fucking make everything, bro. Like, you know, still need a good game at the end of it. Still need a good game loop.
And number 11 is Haze. Easy to look back and laugh at Haze, the PS3's big Halo killer, but you gotta remember that there was some real talent behind this thing. It was made by Free Radical, the guys behind the Time Splitters series. It was good reason to be excited about the game. Magazines hyped it up hard. Everyone was pumped to play it. In the immortal words of Jonathan Davis of Korn, gaming for me is a religion, and Haze is the shit. Really, PlayStation players were just desperate for something that was Halo-shaped, even vaguely at the time, to come to the shiny black brick.
Crisis, baby. You gotta play Crisis, bro. Yeah, I swear, if I see Crisis on this list, I'm going to dislike this video. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Crisis, bro. Oh man, I already think it might show up here, but I could be wrong. But yeah, bro, Crisis. You want something to scratch that Halo itch? Play Crisis.
And they put their hopes into what was ultimately a false prophet that led people down and was cast out. It's not a terrible game. Free Radical knows what they're doing with an FPS, but it feels like about a generation out of date. Looks and plays like something from the Xbox PS2 era.
I hate that fucking weapon sway when you walk. It's so janky.
And for all the talk of being a Halo killer, it's missing vehicular-based combat, and that's a really big thing.
See, and that's the problem too. I feel like that's also what ruins a lot of these games from, because I mean, it's the first game. People are trying new IPs, and everything's gonna be perfect, But like, I feel like that's the problem with a lot of fans and shit, is that they see a game that's like trying to dabble in like a genre or whatever that a already popular game exists in, and then they want to call it, that game killer, Halo killer, Call of Duty killer, Marvel Rivals example, Overwatch killer. I hate when they do that, because then you start adding hype because you're attaching a big name to these small franchises that haven't even started yet, and now you're putting the expectation of that game you just tied it to by saying, well, this game is supposed to be the Halo killer, and you're putting Halo expectations on a game that hasn't even set foot on the ground yet. Let the game breathe. Let the game do what it has to do first. Let it go through its kinks, and then maybe after a while you can start wanting to put it up against the bigger game. But it's mainly the fans that ruin this shit, because all these games look pretty good, for the most part. It's just because they're constantly compared to another game that's in the same genre that's much larger than them, then they unwillingly have to take on the expectations of now that game. People are expecting this to be like a Halo game, and maybe it wasn't supposed to be.
Just another
maybe it just took inspiration but wanted to be something other than Halo.
And FPS with a really goofy campaign, perfectly playable, but not the next Halo, not even the next Halo 5.
Like I said, I haven't played this game, but I mean, it looks fine for what it is.
And number 10 is Black and White. Cast your mind back to 2001, to a time when Peter Molyneux's absurd promises, well, at a time that we hadn't been through a lot of them already. When he said something, it still held some weight. The man is an expert hype man, especially when the games he made still ended up pretty good, despite how ridiculously overblown.
Peter Molyneux thinks generative AI is the future of games, all but guaranteeing that it won't be. AI is not the future of games. No. People are complaining about generic and dry and bland fucking games and stories and shit like that and gameplay. What do you think? What the fuck do you think AI is going to do? The same shit. It's going to take inspiration from other games that already exist and then just recreate that in a different texture. Excuse me. And all the same problems we're complaining about now, the AI is gonna have that tenfold. No, AI is not the future of gaming. Fuck that.
It's promising.
Games still need soul. They still need that real human factor that connects you with the game. Either with the characters or with the landscape or whatever, or the narrative or whatever. You still need that human soul aspect of it to make people be able to connect with the game. AI is not gonna be able to do that. Not even be able to replicate
Originally,
that.
I was planning on putting Fable here, bring up some of the classics, like how he said you'd be able to plant a seed and see the tree grow in real time. But for all the false promises he made about Fable, I think the final result is a pretty damn good game, actually. I like the Fable games. But Black and White's Legacy is a lot more mixed.
I always hear
it was
so
a really
praised.
ambitious game with a crazy amount of hype behind it. It was going to revolutionize AI in video games. It was a god game. It didn't have a user interface. It was going to be a whole new kind of game that would change the industry as we knew it. It should come as no surprise that when Black and White did finally come out, it wasn't quite the game Peter and Lionhead promised. It was short, it was shallow, it was very bug. I mean, I will give that
it looks
it was
pretty
unique.
It does look pretty boring. It
True.
looks real janky. The fuck? So it's a town sim. It's a fucking town
it was
simulator.
A unique game. Ultimately, it's a unique and mediocre game.
In my
More of a
opinion,
sandbox than-
most of these fucking like town sim games are pretty fucking mediocre. In my opinion, they're real fucking boring.
something you can actually play. But it's a hard game.
That's why I don't really like The Sims all that much, dude. Like, they're not interesting, bro.
I hate despite its many problems. I will say it is unfortunate that that's the kind of game that Peter Molyneux is more associated with now. Something that's got some redeeming stuff to it or something interesting at its core and just doesn't deliver. As opposed to really damn good games like Fable, which, yes, he promised a bunch of absurd crap, but I also really don't care that I can't plant a seed and see a tree grow in real time. I don't watch trees grow in real life, and I don't need it in a game, per se.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah. The fuck? What the fuck?
And number 9 is State of
Okay.
Emergency. It cannot be understated how hyped this game was. It was Rockstar's follow-up to Grand Theft Auto 3. That game was an absolute masterpiece, so of course this was going to be good. Hell, it could be better. I don't know if you've ever played State of Emergency. It's been a while since the GTA
Not a single
follow-up
time.
era, but it is not better than Grand Theft Auto 3. The gameplay is very simplistic. It's pretty shallow. There just isn't a lot to it. The Warriors was a much better beat-em-up, and it was more fun creating chaos in a Grand Theft Auto game. So State of Emergency just didn't have a lot worthwhile to it.
What the fuck? So janky. These old games were so janky back in the day. Damn. We're just gonna shoot up a mall.
I mean, still a fun game
Damn.
to screw around with, but it really feels like some kind of an arcade game that doesn't quite translate into a full console game. Like, it really weirdly has that, like, mid-90s Sega feel, despite it not really coming from that perspective at all. It's one of those games that could have been a lot more. It's fun. It's just not really much of something.
Crazy people attacking. Hey, bro, I actually like these games, bro. Yeah, just give me an area where I could just, damn, niggas is looting safes? What the fuck?
And number 8 is Brute Force. Oh, remember Brute Force? Yeah, trick question. Nobody does. But back in 2002, 2003, this was one of the first Halo killers and was getting so much attention. It was one of those games that magazines love to puff up to get people to buy them. Because if you inflate a quote-unquote Halo killer, or really
Again.
a oppositional thing to any popular thing,
let me
you
finish.
factionalize people. You get an argument. People engage a lot more. It's more interesting. I think we've taken this principle a little bit too far as a society, but that's besides the point. Magazine covers were the original clickbait. They made insane promises that the games themselves could never support. I mean, look at this game. It's nothing like Halo, but that didn't stop magazines from claiming it was going to kill Halo.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's. I mean, the game probably isn't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the game is not that good either. I've never played it, but again, this game killer talk is what ruins any new games from getting off the ground, because you're constantly comparing them to a game that's already existed and is already established. So now when you put that moniker on these new games, well, now they unwillingly have to live up to the hype of that game because you labeled it as, you know, like this game's example, Halo Killer. Who knows what this game could have turned out to be? It's clearly not fucking Halo, so it clearly was trying to be something a little different from Halo. But of course, you know, fucking Halo Killer, man. They just ruin these games before they even hit the ground. It looks more like a fucking like a Battlefront kind of deal here, Star Wars Battlefront kind of shit, you know. Which Battlefront's a pretty cool game.
Like, it's not even trying to compete with Halo. That's not its MO. It's actually a little more interesting than just a Halo clone. It's a weird sci-fi tactical shooter where you control a squad of 4 guys who have unique abilities. You can issue commands and control each character at will. It was a cool idea. The problem was the execution. The controls were clunky. The graphics were... I mean, we know what could be done in 2002,
Yeah, I'd say it's early.
2003, and this is not up to par. Commanding your guys, like I said, due to the clunky controls, it was pretty awkward. It gets points for an original idea, and it's...
Yeah, exactly. And it's good that the game came out. Exactly. It was what I'm saying. Like, yeah, of course, the games are probably going to be pretty clunky and pretty shit at first. But you got to give these games a chance. Who knows what this could have turned out to be if they didn't compare it to Halo. That's a cool concept. to be able to control your guys, you know, and be able to have a whole squad that you could tell, hey, bro, we gonna post up at this door. You know, you two take the left, we gonna take the right, we gonna sweep. That's fucking dope. But of course, when you compare it to these fucking games that already exist, you're gonna kill them.
It's good that the game came out because it most likely did inspire.
And did inspire
games,
a lot of games.
Innovative ideas in mediocre games. Often.
It definitely inspired the SWAT, or whatever you call it. I think it's the SWAT series, right? Like SWAT, like SWAT 3, SWAT. The only one I've heard of is SWAT 4. That definitely had to inspire those games for sure. It's a cool idea that got destroyed by being compared to fucking Halo.
It happened in that era.
That's why I hate. I'm gonna keep saying it. Stop saying this game is a this game killer. You're gonna ruin the fucking games.
Nobody really remembers.
It's like they said with Overwatch, with Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is an Overwatch killer. Dude, Marvel Rivals is completely different from Overwatch. And if the game wasn't as good as it is, bro, that comparison probably would have killed the game outright.
Brute force. It probably had an impact beyond what anybody really thinks about.
Yeah, it looks a little funky, but again, it's literally 2002, 2001. It's early.
And number 7 is the Conduit. The Wii may have been a massive success for Nintendo, but for hardcore gaming enthusiasts, it was just a kiddie toy, not a real console. So fans were always looking for the game that would prove the Wii wasn't some novelty, but had real games for grown-ups, and the Conduit was going to be that game. Look at it. It's got particle effects and normal mapping. Nothing is cel-shaded or playing party games at all. It's an FPS. It's got guns. It's a real game, guys. We swear. People were calling High Voltage the next Rare, like hype was out of control. And I'll tell you why that hype was there. It was just low self-esteem over liking something that had a reputation with the real gamers.
Yeah, fuck the real gamers, bro. Real gamers know the Wii was a fucking amazing console. And I will fight anybody that wants to argue against me. Real gamers know the first Wii was a fucking fantastic console that I wish could be replicated today. It was fucking fire for what it was, bro. Even all the party games, bro. I'm not even fuck all the fucking like Mario and Sonic and all those games that always come out with Nintendo. Just the fucking party games, bro. The Wii Sports, dude, the Wii Play, Wii Fit. The Wii Fit shit would keep me and my sister entertained for hours on end, bro. The Wii, real gamers know the Wii was the shit. Fight me.
The Wii was fine. There's no problem. The Wii was great even. And of course, the final result did not live up to the hype. The game released to mostly middling reviews and a muted fan response. It wasn't terrible, but it was okay. And obviously fans moved on to the next big mediocre FPS to get hyped over because they needed their Wii to be a real gaming console. It was a real gaming console, guys.
It was a console. It was dead ass a console.
Since then. And number 6 is The Bouncer. In 2001, any game released by Squaresoft was going to be huge, especially their first game on the highly anticipated PlayStation 2. The Bouncer was going to be a graphical showcase for the system, and people were really hyped for it. We knew next to nothing about it, but with the pedigree of the people like Takashi Tokita, who directed classics like Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger. I mean, the director of Chrono Trigger is probably one of the best games ever made, and the artist Tetsuya Nomura. The game was going to be great no matter what, right? The only problem is, well, nobody was working on this game had made an action game before. They were only credited with RPGs, and it shows when you play The Bouncer with its very stiff combat and weird RPG system. They could have just made a solid beat 'em up, but The Bouncer is a weird narrative game hybrid with branching story paths. Too much story, combat doesn't feel that good, camera's infuriating. It's a messy game with a lot of problems. It's not terrible. It's got this Squaresoft charm from the late 90s, early 2000s, but it's nowhere even close to the hype that it had. It was a weird experimental game that is entertaining, but it definitely has its problems.
That's pretty janky, yeah.
And number 5 is Duke Nukem Forever. First
Duke
it was
Nukem!
hyped, then forgotten about, then it became a laughingstock, then it was hyped again, and the whole process started over. It happened a few times. It took 14 years for the Duke Nukem 3D sequel to finally see the light of day.
That's fucking cool.
And in that time, it experienced the hype cycle that is usually only reserved for long-running franchises. I mean, Duke Nukem is technically a long-running franchise, but Duke Nukem 3D was the game that people cared about. The most hyped trailer was released way back in 1998, where it was clearly aping Half-Life, but hey, if you're going to steal from the best, right? Many other revisions of the game came later due to an increasingly muted response from fans. The game was a running joke for a long time. Everyone assumed that it was just never coming out, and then the bombshell dropped. Gearbox acquired the rights, and they were releasing Duke Nukem Forever. Some people were stoked. They went absolutely mental. This game, people had been talking about for 14 years, was finally coming out. It didn't matter if it was going to be good or bad. It was finally coming out, and that was reason enough to be hyped. A lot of people went into this game with boundless goodwill and still walked away disappointed. It's just not a very good game. It's mechanically rote and unengaging. The humor is, let's just say the doses that were included in the original game were relatively small, and at the time of Duke Nukem 3D's release, were also relatively new. When Duke Nukem Forever came out, the expiration date was long past on that kind of humor. It had been done to death, and nobody was really laughing at it.
Excuse me, Duke Nukem? Yeah, my kid's a real big fan. Go on and ask him, Jimmy.
Mr. Nukem, will you sign this for me?
Sure, kid, but I better not find this on eBay.
What the fuck?
I want to grow up to be just like you.
Take your pills, vitamins, every day, and you might grow up to be as awesome as me.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Nukem.
Beyond that, the pacing constantly drags. There's long, boring stretches of nothing. I wouldn't call it unacceptably bad, but pretty damn mediocre.
I'm gonna rip your eye out and piss on your brain, you alien dirtbag.
Why the fuck? Do you only get a pistol? Why are you fighting this giant monster with a fucking pistol? What the fuck? Okay. They got an RPG. There you go. Bop! Oh. That didn't do shit. Hey, I think I'd probably... Hey, yo, I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably try this game. It looks pretty cool.
And number 4 is Enter the Matrix. For a brief moment, The Matrix was the biggest thing in Hollywood. The hype around the upcoming sequel, The Matrix Reloaded, was at a fever pitch, and Enter the Matrix wasn't just going to be your generic movie tie-in game, it was going to be part of the story. It had over an hour of original footage, written and directed by the Wachowskis. It had actual characters from the movie in it with the real actors, and the game was going to be an integral part of the entire Matrix franchise. At the time, sounded great. But unfortunately, the game suffered from a lot of the problems movie tie-in games have, particularly at that time. Development was rushed to meet a deadline. This was probably the prime sin of the game. And unfortunately, the final product was a buggy mess.
What the fuck? Dive in. She can't even barely get in the window. Put your hands up. Damn, damn, damn. Oh, okay, damn.
Shiny Entertainment, the guys who made the game, are mostly known for making weird but memorably janky games like Sacrifice and Messiah, games with personality if not polish. That's them at their best, and Enter the Matrix is them at their most time-crunched. The game feels like it's held together by hopes and prayers. It feels like it's going to fall apart at any minute, and it often does. It's a disaster of bugs, but that being said, it does definitely still have its charms. Far from being a definitive Matrix game, everything that you need in a Matrix game is there. It's just a miracle that it works at all, and often doesn't.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like any fucking... It literally looks like any other game made in, like, the early 2000s, bro. All those games, I don't care what you say, except for, like, the handful that are famous, like Halo and Call of Duty and shit like that. Most of these fucking games are all pretty janky around that time.
And number 3 is Hellgate London. Created by former Blizzard employees, many of whom had worked on the Diablo series, Hellgate London really grabbed people's attention with its flashy CGI trailer and an intriguing mix of Diablo-style looting and first-person perspective. It was a looter shooter, probably the first one I can remember, and people were pretty excited about it. Even with it being a subscription-based game, people were...
What? Oh, man. These companies, man, they really for years, man, this just proves, for years, bro, they try to siphon money out of us every fucking time. Jeez.
Hyped. A lot of people even bought the $150 lifetime subscription, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the best value. The game lasted for less than a year before shutting down, and all those lifetime subscriptions just went up in smoke. By then, mainstream interest in the game...
Wait, they didn't get any refunds? Yo, dude. Yeah. Yo, dude. That's crazy. I want my refund. I paid $150 for a lifetime subscription and you shut down. Bro, if they didn't give him a refund, that's crazy.
Game was well and truly dead. It really wasn't very good. It's got a fun premise and some cool looking classes, but the game is not good to play. It is easy to fall into trap builds that make progress a slog, and you're barely doing any damage. Enemies slaughter you. The only way to survive is tedious grinding, and the environments are just like boring copy paste crap. It's really hard to want to keep moving through the game for both aesthetic and mechanical reasons. There's a kernel of a good idea here, but it's buried in boring garbage. And number 2 is Spore. It wasn't just going to be the next SimCity. It wasn't just going to be the next Sims. It was going to be an achievement for the ages. A game that transcended the shackles of being a video game and would be something more. The language surrounding Spore was unbelievable. Absurd that anyone believed any of it, but it's Maxis. And legendary developer Will Wright, the head of Maxis. Their previous games had revolutionized the industry. Why not this one? And to be fair, the game was ambitious as hell. You start out as a tiny cellular organism and expand all the way to a galactic empire and doing everything in between.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That seems pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
The gaming press sung the game's praises. We all speculated about the crazy stuff the game would let us do. Sounded like the ultimate sandbox. It was The Sims, SimAnt, SimCity, all at once. It was going to be amazing. Instead of that, we got a walking phallus simulator. That's the lasting legacy of Spore, people making dick monsters. Now, to be fair, the alien monster was legitimately impressive, but everything else about the game was far too shallow, and making dick monsters is really funny. Once you've experienced one evolutionary stage, you're pretty much done. There's not really anything else to do. The whole gameplay loop is really simplistic, and it just turns out to be boring. So all that's left to do is see what kind of messed up monster designs, right? Making dick monsters is funny, I said. It's true. And then you got to upload them before EA blocks your account. Spore is like a lot of games on this list where it's got some cool ideas. There's a lot of potential here if they had a chance to expand on the ideas, but they didn't. Spore could have been that era's No Man's Sky if it had gotten the chance, getting constant updates for years that would have added much needed depth to its various systems. But that didn't happen, and what did was just a big disappointment.
Yeah, this game seems cool. I definitely wouldn't mind a game like this, like in today's time. If they tried this again, I think people would actually give it a shot. I'm not gonna lie, that's a cool concept. The fact that it's a huge sandbox on a planet, and I'm able to, I understand No Man's Sky is a thing, and I get that, but this is more of like a more chill, more relaxed, a lot less grindy than No Man's Sky. Because I like No Man's Sky. But if you're gonna sit here and tell me the game is not grindy as shit, you're lying. It's so grindy to even get a base set up, like not just a base with four walls and a floor and a roof. I mean like a base that's got cool shit. Like it's super grindy just to get the materials to build the walls, and then you gotta build it. And yeah, this game would be this if they tried this again. I think people might actually try it. It's got a really cool concept. Was he abducting him or something? What the fuck is he doing? Or is he destroying it? I will say too, if they do decide to bring this game back, please let me still build dick monsters, dude. That's fire. Start building some fucking pussy monsters.
At number 1 is Advent Rising. When most people talk about Advent Rising, they usually focus on the marketing campaign, the delusions of grandeur from the game's director, the $1 million sweepstakes, the Orson Scott Card involvement, all that stuff. They rarely actually talk about the game itself. It's almost an afterthought to all the chaos surrounding it, and for good reason, because in comparison to everything else, the game just isn't all that interesting. The most unlikely of the many Halo killers, heavy scare quotes on Halo killers, by the way, Advent Rising was dreamed up by a few guys at Glyph X, a studio that made box art and marketing materials for games and nothing else. It was a game literally dreamed up by marketers, and they pushed this thing hard. It was spotlighted in every gaming magazine. It was all
that makes sense. If we've learned anything with modern gaming, when you put the people in marketing to be the ones who have to direct the game or make the game, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Like, it was everywhere. Most of the hype
I can
was
only imagine what this
but there
fucking
was
game
some
was like.
legitimate interest around it. The early preview showed at least some potential. The marketing machine behind it was so omnipresent, though, that it was bound to hook at least a few poor saps. You've already heard about this, but every Xbox copy of the game came with a Race for the Truth contest form where whoever found all of the hidden glyphs in the game first would win $1 million.
What?
The only problem here, and something they really should have thought of before doing this contest, is that they had no way of verifying who found the glyphs first. So if you bought this game in hopes of getting $1 million, those hopes are dashed. So I guess you have to actually play it now.
That's crazy. Hey guys, play our game and we'll give you $1 million if you're the first one to pretty much just beat the game. Sounds like. That's funny. It sounds, dude. Yeah, I was gonna say like there's no way to verify it. So yeah, everybody would just be like, well, actually, I did it first.
Not a good game, though. Total disaster. There is some real ambitious here, even if it's clearly a chopped up and compromised version of whatever the original vision is. The flick aiming system is really bizarre. The constant matrix dodging is goofy as all hell, but at least the soundtrack's good. Too good for this game. Honestly, it's so bombastic all the time, it feels like someone put it in as a joke. Never has a game with so much money and hype behind it disappeared off the face of the earth like this one.
God, yeah, it looks pretty janky even for that time, bro. So just a massive landscape with like barely shit in it and barely any enemies. What kind of fucking shield is that? The fuck? I mean, the movement is kind of cool. You know, I don't know.
And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you...
That movement seemed pretty cool. I think I definitely wouldn't mind that. But yeah, guys, there you go, man. That was 20 overhyped games that were actually mediocre. I still think the criticism of calling Watch Dogs mediocre is definitely a bit of a stretch, in my opinion. Or the Callisto Protocol as well. I think those are kind of stretches as far as mediocre goes. Then again, the only game I've really played in this entire list was Watch Dogs. So I still think Watch Dogs was a pretty good game. I think it definitely did spawn a genre of games that just, there's not a lot of games that have tried to copy it, you know. But yeah, man, that's 20 overhyped games. And my thoughts at the end of it is just, it seems like most of these games, it says they were overhyped, but they were mediocre. I think, most of these games, they probably could have been more successful if people just stopped comparing them to other games, you know, especially other bigger games that have already been established. We got to remember, you know, a lot of these companies, sometimes they're just trying to make a new IP. They're trying to just deliver on an idea. The gameplay might not always be fire, but maybe the idea is there. And you got to give them a chance. You got to give them a second to breathe. Let them iron out their kinks and give them a couple games, and then you can have your opinion on it. I still feel like comparing new games to other games and calling them the killer of that franchise or that game is definitely what ruins a lot of these early games from getting off the ground and really potentially being something great, and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, anyways, man, if y'all like the video, go ahead and leave me a like, man. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike, and maybe leave a subscribe, bro, if you want to see more of me. Don't forget to go ahead and check out the original video. The link is in the description. Go ahead and show them some love, man. And I will catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.